So
Oh,
my
not on
kids,
YouTube. It's like on Discord. You gotta look at those comments. More intelligent.
Tim, I didn't, have you got our first case?
I have
Yeah,
one at
Driver
1:30.
Street. All right, give me a minute here. Let me get situated. All right, I think we're good to go. Turn the record on. Is Mr. Street going to be here?
He usually is, Your Honor, but
Yes.
this is kind of a unique situation. So
Well, it's 1:25. We are live on YouTube. We are on the Zoom platform. The case is set for 1:30. It's People versus Kybren, Khybrn Street. Mr. Street is charged with indecent exposure. He also has several cases in the circuit court that we've kind of been streaming along behind. What's the status here, Mr. George?
Your Honor, there was a global resolution that was offered by Mr. Gabry as part of his felony cases. I spoke with my client about that, and he was set to accept it and enter a plea in circuit court. Unfortunately, I was set for status conference last Thursday morning when the power was out. So because of some issues in my schedule, we're dealing with trying to reschedule his plea at this time. Obviously, this would be a case that would be dismissed per that plea agreement. So I know we've kicked this can down the road a few times, but I believe that if we were to set it for the first attorney pretrial in July, we should be able to have his case pled in circuit court.
Is that acceptable, Debbie?
It is. And actually, Mr. George and I talked about another case that came up with Mr. Street regarding a minor in possession of alcohol in a motor vehicle. And I don't know what the status is as far as if it's been set for an arraignment.
Yes. Find it.
Or I believe the case number is 21-993 SM.
There's a warrant out for his arrest. Oh, I did a warrant and an MIP.
Well, the offer is for him to plead to the simple MIP and the civil infraction instead of the 90-day MIP in a motor vehicle.
Tim, I'm gonna make an effort to recall that warrant, do a notice to appear.
Okay, I appreciate that, Your Honor. And my understanding was I thought he had posted some type of bond in that.
Case filed, criminal warrant issued, outstanding warrant dated May
Okay.
19th. Let me see, what else is in here? No, we didn't do a warrant for a MIP. I don't know where that is, but I will, all right, let's set this for 9 a.m.
Okay.
It's going to be very busy that day, but if the case is going to be dismissed, that shouldn't take very long. So I'm going to put recall warrant. Okay, is that all you had today?
Yes, sir.
All right, you must be living right. We got a lot of Jordan cases and Melissa and then Paul, but if he does log in, I'll direct him to call your office.
I
okay?
appreciate your honor, and thank you, Ms. Davis.
No problem. Thanks, Tim.
Jordan, thank you for the update just before lunch. We have several people we haven't heard from. Let me look at that email, because I didn't see any mention of Katie Shepard.
There was some confusion about the notices. Oh, look at you on your
on my
pass.
screen. Yeah, my client is in the office, so
Oh.
masking. But we're not set till 1:45, so.
If your client, Miss Wheeler, is here, we're ready to go right now if you are.
Okay, I'll go grab her.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they always prefer come early anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's always a good, I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm too early.
Yes.
So I'm gonna just move my computer here. Make sure. And I would probably just be here.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I hear you.
This is Judge Middleton here. I'm in the courthouse in Centerville. You're there in Yancey World Headquarters. This is the time and date for a last pretrial conference. In this case, let me click the file up here. No, it's not in here. Just give me a moment. I'll have to locate it separately. Sometimes I print these complaints out in preparation for this pretrial, but today I thought I'd try to do everything electronically, and I probably should have printed it out. In this case, it is alleged in this file that on April 23rd of 2021, on Angevine Road, I think that may be Nottawa Township, Constantine Township.
Miller's Mill
I
Road.
guess it was Miller's Mill and Schaefer Road out there in the real hilly part of the county, that Olga Alexandrovna Wheeler did operate a vehicle with a high blood alcohol level. That is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 180 days in jail and a fine of up to $700. It does carry 6 points, and it requires that your license be suspended. As I understand it, the prosecutors agreed to reduce this to a charge of impaired driving. Is that correct, Ms. Davis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me tell you about that, Ms. Wheeler. Impaired driving is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $300. It carries 4 points on your driving record, and very importantly, it allows you to keep a restricted driver's license to drive back and forth to work, school, treatment, other things, as opposed to an outright suspended license. Other than that part of the plea agreement, did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
I apologize. English, my second language, and sometimes I.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did anyone threaten you to try to get you to plead to this charge?
No.
Or make any promises to you?
No.
All right, I'll try to be careful here. Do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you will be giving up your right to have a trial? There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Sorry, I don't just.
If you plead guilty, there will not be a trial.
You're running a
Do you
plea
understand?
trial.
Oh, I have to plead guilty?
If you want to take this plea offer, you plead guilty, yes.
What is what I need to do?
That's what we talked about, yes, if you're
Okay.
comfortable doing that.
Yes, because like I said, sometimes I don't understand exactly what this means.
Well, it's also hard with a mask. Are you uncomfortable with this? Would you like me to get someone that speaks Russian on the language line? Do you think you'll be able to do this in English?
I try. I just nervous right now.
All right, and that's understandable. How long have you lived here in Michigan?
I live in the U.S. 19 years.
Okay, so you function every day in English, is that true?
Yes.
All right, I'll try to be careful. All right, but basically the concept, when you enter a plea of guilty, there is no trial. That's pretty straightforward. Do you understand that?
Sorry, you froze a little, Your Honor. So if you enter a guilty plea, Ms. Wheeler, there's not going to be a trial where the prosecutor presents evidence and calls witnesses. Do you understand that?
I need to plead guilty.
If you want to resolve it, yep.
Okay.
Now, you have a right to have a lawyer, and you've got Ms. Yancey. I believe you hired her.
Yes.
We could have appointed a lawyer for you. If you had a trial, you would have the right to testify, to get up on the witness stand and tell your side of the story. But you don't have to, because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. You would have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand all that? And do you wish to plead guilty to the charge of impaired driving?
Your Honor, do you mind if I mute just a second?
No.
Apologies, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm going to plead guilty.
All right. Were you driving a car down at Miller's Mill Road and Schaefer Road on April 23rd?
Yes.
What were you doing there?
I was driving home from a friend's house.
All right, it's very hilly out there. Were you at a party?
I was actually supposed to be stay there and spend it's a Friday, and I was supposed to be stay there Saturday and Sunday come back home because I have my medicine with me and everything because I tell the officer about this. But yeah, I not drink much, but there lots going on in my life right now last 2 years. And yes, we was little drink.
What were you drinking?
And I was make very huge mistake. I just left.
Okay, what were you drinking?
We drink whiskey.
Well, what happens
What?
when you drink some, you lose your judgment. When you're not very drunk, you think, I better stay here. When you have enough, you lose your judgment and think, well, I can drive home. There was an accident here, was there not?
Yes.
What was the blood alcohol?
I believe it was 0.13.
If I understand, the PBT was one thing and the actual tests were later, but the PBT was 1.3?
Yes.
The
All
breath
right.
test results were a 0.18 and a 0.19.
Which is why the high blood alcohol level.
And actually-
Which means she probably drank it just before she left. All right, Miss Wheeler, what do you do? What's your occupation?
I work in a factory, operator, assembler.
All right. And you live near Centerville here?
Yes, Angevine Road.
I'm going to get more information before I do the sentence here. We have to set it for what's called screening and sentencing. So let's find a date that works for your lawyer. What shift do you work?
We laid off right now. I don't know next week I go into work or not because they usually call on Fridays and tell if next week we're going to work.
Well, I'm going to set this for a morning here in June. Jordan, are you okay for Monday, June 11th at 11?
Are you talking July, Your Honor?
No, I'm talking June.
There's no June 11th on a Monday.
I'm sorry, June 21. I'm looking at,
Okay.
I don't know why I said 11. June 21 at 11 is what I meant.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm available.
Thank you for being gentle, saying you're crazy. June 21st, which is a Monday at 11 o'clock, not June 11th.
Okay. But since I have
Now, Miss Wheeler, it will be by Zoom like this once again. So if you need to go into Miss Yancey's office, that's fine. You could also come directly here to the courthouse and we could put you in a conference room or you can dial in. But the probation department is going to be contacting you to get information. Jordan, would you email us her contact information?
I will, Your Honor. Is there a specific probation officer I could direct it to, or do we not know yet?
Don't know yet. Just send it to me and it'll be part of the file. All right, Miss Wheeler, I'm glad you weren't hurt or worse. This matter is set for sentencing by Zoom on June 21st, 2021 at 11. I'll get the police report. The probation department will meet with you and go over this. We'll find out about the accident, see if there are any pictures, find out more about you, how you came to be here in Michigan, what your employment history is. Just get a lot of background information before we decide what the sentence is. Do you have any questions?
I just want to say I apologize for what's going on because I never had the problems with law and never drive fast or no seatbelt. It just
All right.
feels
We'll talk more about it. And this happens about 300 times a year or more. Maybe a little less. I don't know if it happened more or less during COVID. People sat home and drank rather than go out to a bar. I don't know. But we get almost a drunk driving arrest every day. At any rate, like I said, I'm glad you weren't hurt and no one else was hurt. But I will see you on June 21st at 11 o'clock.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much.
Jordan, now we're not set until 2.
correct.
And we're gonna have to
Yeah.
let the clock tick, because I don't think you heard from these people.
I have not, Your Honor, and I'm gonna walk Miss Wheeler out and talk to her some more, and then I'll be back on.
All right, thank you. Deborah, I can just put you in waiting room oblivion.
I can just turn off the camera and audio.
Now, I have, we'll wait for her to come back. I think she's probably already, she said she called and the numbers didn't work. So we're gonna just,
Well, Katie Shepard will be Nolly's on all of those for the felony plea that she entered.
oh wow,
So that will clear up a lot of them.
that young woman was on a roll and it was all downhill.
More like a steamroller going downhill, but yes. So she did enter a plea in circuit. So part of the deal was these misdemeanors would be dismissed. So I sent an email to our staff to get the Nollies prepared.
Okay, very good.
So
All
I'll
right.
be on
that's a
pause
big
until you're
chunk.
ready.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. I'm gonna leave the live feed on, but I will stop the record. Hmm. Just a few more minutes of contemplating the meaning of the universe while we wait for the next case, and then the next case after that. It's lonely here in this empty courtroom. I've been just sitting here like a whale at the bottom of the ocean thinking deep thoughts. Oh, someone is here from Galaxy A52. Let's see who this is.
Never knew how many galaxies were out there until Zoom.
Well, this is Mr. Jones. Not that Mr. Jones.
In a galaxy far, far away, Jordan.
Do you need to speak with him, Jordan?
I do, Your Honor. I attempted to call him yesterday and his voicemail was not available.
All right. Mr. Jones, can you hear me?
A little bit.
A little bit. You want to be Bob Dylan? All right, I'm going to put you in a space where you can talk to your lawyer, Ms. Yancey, all right?
All right.
Okay. Oops, let me get the breakout room. I'm glad that he's here.
Jordan, I'm looking to find out from you if there's any progress on his license. They're gone.
Let's take a look here.
Sorry, Debbie, you were talking and I left.
You're fine. I was just saying that what I'm looking for is what the status is on his license and paying off those fines.
He indicates he was not able to get that ticket paid. I know that part of the plea deal was if he got that paid and was able to show some good faith towards that restoration, that you would offer $257, $326, but unfortunately that hasn't happened. So I don't know if there's an alternative offer or if it's just as charged at this point.
It would be a DWS first.
Okay.
That's
believe
kind of
he-
just set him back down the path of being suspended.
Yep, and I explained that to him. He just indicated a lot of stuff going on in his life that he wasn't able to get that taken care of. So I believe he's going to enter a plea to that today then.
Okay.
We may have to manually bring him back.
Yes, I'm disappointed.
Is he working, Jordan? Like, I mean, if we give it another month, I mean,
He is working. I don't know if the court's acceptable to an adjournment. I'm certainly happy to ask for that.
All right, well, let's talk about this. Mr. Jones, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You're charged with driving suspended, second offense. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail, and it's going to cause your license to further be suspended. One of the reasons you're suspended is you have an unpaid ticket for no proof of insurance from 2019. The prosecutor had offered to change this to a charge that would not require your license to be suspended if you paid off the ticket. I can't tell you right now what it is. I knew it one time, but I don't have that information in front of me. It's a big deal. If you get a driving suspended charge, you're going to be suspended and you're going to be on the driving suspended merry-go-round for several more years. If you pay off this ticket, the prosecutor would change the charge to one called allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. That's a big deal. It's going to save you a bunch of money and it'll get your license. Where are you working?
I'm still at Heartland.
All right, well, they pay well. This just needs to have more urgency. If we adjourn this a month, will you pay off that ticket?
Yeah.
it's $380 is the amount that was stated on March 25th.
Yeah. See, I had other fines and I had paid, like I had been going to the courthouse and paid other fines, and I didn't even know that I even had this fine until I recently went to court, because I already had other fines, and I just didn't have no money. My kids have been I've been going to traveling and travel softball and baseball and all the other stuff. I just haven't had.
I hate to see you, as Debbie said, go down the path of suspension.
And
Then
Your
you're just-
Honor, to be fair, the first pretrial, and this was just May 14th, so it's not even been a month.
All right.
I think if we could do that extra month, he would be able to get that paid and take advantage of the very generous.
Let's set it
offer.
for July 29. Last pretrial at 2 o'clock.
Awesome.
All right, that gives you June and July. Then if you pay that off, I won't even make your fine due right away, but Heartland pays well. There's also this impeding traffic ticket, which would be dismissed. 7/29/21 at 2 p.m. Also, you need to do a better job of staying in contact with your lawyer.
Yeah, that's my fault.
All right, well, let's see if you can do this. I would much rather see you get allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. You got a family, you got kids to deal with, you get suspended, we already are suspended, but you need to get this taken care of so you can get unsuspended.
Yes.
All right, you can do it by July 27th?
Yes, sir.
All right, I need some urgency to it, but that gives you this month and next month. All right, do you have any questions?
None.
All right, you're free to go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Debbie, for giving me that consideration.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Tara Ball has a habit of sometimes not appearing. She did come last time, I think maybe at the wrong time. And you haven't had any contact with her?
We had called, we had the pretrial at May 14th as well, and I talked to her that morning. I wasn't able to reach her prior to the pretrial. She's a similar situation in which she needs to contact Secretary of State to figure out what she needs to do to get her driver's license reinstated. She called me the following week and left a message asking what she needed to do, and I explained her she needed to contact Secretary of State. I left a voicemail. She did not call back, and I tried to call her yesterday and her voicemail was full and she's not returning my call. So I'm not sure what the status is on her either.
I'm still struggling with reading these new format driving records.
She also has an ordinance violation today, but I'm not sure who that's with. They're set for 2:15, so she's got about
Timothy J. Reed, but it says driving suspended. He can't, second. He can't do a DWLS second.
I don't have her on that. I just have the case with the county. So.
I don't think that there is an ordinance. I think it's the same case. It got charged as a second offense. Well, instead of going from the top was the oldest and the bottom was the newest, now top is the newest and the bottom is the oldest. She pled to a no ops on 12/30/20. And she has an OUIL in 14 and some other stuff. Let's take a look. I've known Miss Ball since she's about 18. Let's see what we got here. Well, let's see here. She's got an unpaid booking fee, which is one thing jamming her up. We all hate booking fees. She's got 2 unpaid booking fees here and 6. She paid $50 in January of 21 and hasn't paid anything since. She's gonna have difficulty. She's got 3 drunk driving convictions. 2004, 2009, 2014. This is gonna be a thing where she's gonna have to go to the driver license appeal division. She's also got a lot of driving suspended baggage. Deborah, somehow, some zoning violation motions got set in the middle of today.
Well, good
They're
thing
in a
Katie
fol-
Shepherd's are nollied.
It really is. It's in a folder that says 3 o'clock Wednesday motion, and those are normally set at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Somehow it got set for 3 o'clock on Thursday, right in the middle of our,
It's a short
Last
week.
week.
I mean, this is actually like the
Yes,
Wednesday of our
that's
week,
true.
so somebody
And I
had the same thought process.
I have a
as me.
vacation day tomorrow, so it's a really short week, so. And we had the day Thursday where we didn't get anything done because the power went out. Still sort of recovering from that. She is set for 2:15.
So the Terra Ball ones, there are 2 case numbers.
File
set for today.
21576SM is no insurance under the insurance code. The date is 3/18 of '21. 21577 charges driving suspended first, ordinance traffic, OT, but then it's a second offense. So let's take a look and see whether you guys filed a complaint.
So I see a
If
complaint
it's-
that Casey Johnson signed on 4/27, which includes a DWS second and the operating without security. So I don't know why on the AS 400 it shows
Numbers.
like, well, 21-577 as an OT and then count
Well, it
one.
got
as-
entered as 2 separate tickets, and then
Yeah,
Sturgis was no longer handling the ticket because it is a 1-year misdemeanor.
but the AS 400 lists it as an OT case code and then has a driving suspended first as count 1, but then also count 1 driving suspended second. So I don't know if we need to amend the case code. to
Well, the
be-
complaint that I see just has both numbers, OI, OT. I don't know, but at this point, the city of Sturgis won't have any obligation under this.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I wasn't thinking we were handling it until I looked it up and saw them both on the same complaint.
There's always some nuance. I don't know where Wren Road is. 305, it must be inside the city. Jenny Wren Road. Let me give Tara a call here. I feel like I win the lotto or something every time I actually get somebody on the telephone. It's such a rare occurrence.
Same.
And it isn't going to occur now either.
And Your Honor, I don't know if you want to go off YouTube for a second. I can give you the number I have in case it's different.
Mine ends in 6585.
And mine, the first digits are the same. It just ends in 9258. Because that was a number she called me from.
Let's try that one.
Imagine if your appliance Jordan. I'm like a little mad.
Good afternoon. Is this Tara?
That is me, yes.
This is Judge Middleton. You're supposed to be here with us in court.
Oh my goodness, I never got a notice, Your Honor.
Are you still at 305?
Communication.
Are you still at 305 Wren Road?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. Are you driving right now?
No.
All right. Well, let's just do this by telephone.
Okay.
I've known you for a long time, and I recognize your voice. Your lawyer, Jordan Yancey, is here with us. She's been trying to reach you also. And the prosecutor, Deborah Davis, is here.
Okay.
You're charged with driving suspended first or second offense and no insurance. We had a pretrial in May, and you were going to see what you could do to get your license straightened out. You have a lot of baggage on your driving record, and you and I have been through a lot of that. Have you done anything since May to see what you need to do to get your license back?
Well, yes, I inquired about it, Your Honor, and as it stands right now, I have a 5-year sanction now because of the prior driving unsuspended.
That was my impression. So you're not able to get your license unsuspended. And since you're suspended, you can't get insurance either. So what's the status of the car this happened to, that you were in?
Well, it is actually still in impound because it was my understanding that it had I don't know if it was called a hold. There was something that was on it that I had to get released, I believe is what it was. But then I don't know, Your Honor. It's just a big mess.
Where is it under impound?
Chuck's Auto.
By now, it's got to be very expensive. It's been in impound since March. You probably lost the car. What kind of car is it?
It's a Jeep Liberty.
What year?
Oh, 94, I believe, Your Honor. I'm not sure right off the top of my head.
The impound bill is probably in the thousands of dollars right now. I would put you in a breakout room when you could talk to your lawyer, but I can't do that when you're only by telephone. Ms. Davis, do you have any suggestion here?
Well, I don't. She just had a driving situation at the.
She got a no ops in
here.
December, it was reduced in January, and she hasn't paid the fine.
I was hoping she would have paid the fine on that.
Your Honor,
Yes?
I have made payments on the fines.
Yeah, you made one $50 payment in January, you haven't made any payments since, it's now June.
There should have been a total of 3 of them so far, if I remember correctly. I don't have the paperwork right in front of me, I'm sorry. Because I printed out the receipts.
Okay, well, maybe it didn't show up on the, right now it just says there's nothing in here since January.
Okay, I will go digging for that and get that taken care of as well.
So anyway, they don't know what to do. You're suspended terribly, several different ways. You've got unpaid booking fees. You've got unpaid fines. You've essentially lost your car as a result of this. And you didn't call your lawyer and you didn't show up for court when you were supposed to. Now, I know you haven't absconded, and often you show up late or on the wrong day or something, so I thought I'd make an effort to try to call you. But essentially, I'll put all 3 of us in the same category. We don't know what to do with you. Deborah?
Is your client working?
I don't know. I've never had an appointment with her, so I don't.
Tara, we had the pretrial and then this one. Are you employed somewhere?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I'm not getting income. I'm actually drawing unemployment, but I do spend my days working out at Fun River Animal Clinic, helping. I've been out there for 8 years of my life, following Doc. But Dr. Lindemuth just recently passed away.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you guys heard or
Well,
not.
the other problem is you're driving a car right now. I don't know what vehicle you're driving, but I could hear the dinger at the gas station and you're in the car and you ain't supposed to be driving. So it just...
I'm in the passenger seat, Your Honor.
Who's
We're using my maps.
Who's driving?
Sharon?
Sharon
You just
say...
get out and go to the restroom.
All right, we'll talk to her in a minute.
Does she have Zoom capability on her phone?
I don't know. Do you have Zoom on your phone?
I might have the capability of that. I don't have any. Is it an app, Your Honor?
Never mind. It's going to be too cumbersome to do it at this point. Well, let's ask this. We either need to resolve it with a plea. If you do plead, I'm not going to sentence you today because I don't know what to do. I have my suspicions that you're driving and I caught you by surprise with this phone call, but I didn't want to issue a bench warrant for your arrest. You've got fines that you aren't paying, and you aren't paying because you don't have any money. You don't get punished for not having money, but you get punished for keep driving. Now, you lost your car, which is a significant loss to you, but you aren't supposed to be driving it anyway, and you didn't have any insurance on it. That's one problem. I don't know if they'll let you get your car out of impound unless you have proof of insurance. So we can set this for a trial and see whether she pays the other stuff off. If she would waive the right to jury trial, I'd set this for a trial, bench trial, like in August. Tara, you do have a right to have a jury trial on this where it would be tried in front of 6 impartial jurors. The problem is, because of the COVID quarantine situation, we're very backed up on our jury trials. Not as bad as they are in circuit court, but still bad. So we don't have the present ability to do a jury trial. we could set this for a bench trial, that is a trial just in front of the judge, and give you a couple months to see if you can get that other ticket paid off and see if the prosecutor would give you some additional consideration. Jordan, do you have an opinion regarding that?
I do not, Your Honor. I would leave that to what my client feels comfortable doing at this time.
Your
Tara,
Honor,
I don't want,
maybe a suggestion would be if she pleads to a no ops again, we could set it out for sentencing a month or 6 weeks, whatever. And then if she pays off her ticket, great. And perhaps there's no jail component to this, but if she doesn't, then perhaps a weekend or two in jail would drive the point home. So I was considering a DWS first, but that's not gonna do anything different other than probably jam up her license for an additional year. So I think a no ops in this situation.
all right. Tara, let me break that down. You're charged with driving suspended, second offense, that's punishable by up to a year in jail. You're charged with no insurance under the insurance code, which is a 1-year misdemeanor with a minimum $200 fine plus costs, which would be $325. Very generously, the prosecutor is offering to dismiss both of those charges for a plea to driving with no valid operator's license. That's the charge you pled to in December. That's a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100 plus costs, and it carries 2 points. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, I do.
Are you willing to plead to that lesser charge of no ops?
Well, yeah.
All right, I don't want to threaten you to get you to do this, but in my view, it's a very generous plea offer. Your driving record weighs 10 pounds. It's got so much baggage on it.
Yes.
And I think you're driving right now. So, all right. Other than what the prosecutor said, did anyone offer you anything to get you to plead to this charge?
No.
Or promise you anything?
No.
Do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Ms. Yancey is here to represent you all the way through this process, although you haven't been utilizing her services very well. Do you understand that if you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. If you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you, and you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you speak Russian?
No.
The last lady was a native Russian speaker, and I had to be careful that she understood all the English. All right. Were you driving a car on March 18th in Sturgis?
Yes.
Where were you going?
Actually, I was headed out to the animal clinic.
All right. Now, Tara, I've told you this before. You got to stop driving. If you get another driving charge, you're going to be a trustee at the jail.
Oh, no.
So stop driving. I can't wave my magic wand and give you a driver's license, but you can't just keep trying to drive under the radar like you're doing right now. I'll accept your plea. Your license was suspended at that time.
Your Honor, do you know of anything that I can do, if I start, once I start paying all my fines and stuff off?
Yes.
Is there anything I can do to possibly get like a hardship license or anything like that?
There is, but you have to prove to the Driver License Appeal Division that you've been drug and alcohol free. And so it's a very difficult process. It's akin to the biblical getting a camel through the eye of a needle, and you need legal help. And you need to stop driving. So this one, this no ops is gonna go on your record. So the answer is no. You're at least a year away from being able to get your license back. And I know you think that's unfair, but as I said, you got a whole bunch of stuff in your past which has caused your license to be suspended. And even though it's inconvenience and a nuisance, the state of Michigan is taking your driving privileges away, and you just keep driving. So there is a process, but this ticket is going to make you ineligible for it for at least a year. Does that change your mind about whether you want to plead to this?
I'll just plead guilty and get it done and over with. Yeah,
All right. I'm going to set this for sentencing for August 2nd at 11 o'clock.
Is Sharon back in the car yet?
What?
Is Sharon back in the car yet?
Sharon's not back in the car, and I don't think Sharon's coming back to the car.
it looks like she's mine, but
All right, we'll send you this. Are you still on Wren Road?
well, I did my mail from there, Your Honor.
All right.
That's my dad's address.
All right, that'll work. Now, you heard what I said. If you get another one of these, there's jail in your future. Ms. Davis is willing to be flexible on whether there's more jail time if you pay your fine off. We're giving you until August 2nd to do that. My fear is you're going to get another ticket between now and then. And I hope I'm wrong. Like five minutes from now. Wherever you are, get home, stay home, and stop driving, and I'll see you on August. And stay in better contact with your attorney. She's been trying to reach you. The good news is these expensive charges are all gone. The bad news is we've got to deal with the one that's left, no operator's license on August 2nd.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. With the other payments that I have made, Your Honor,
Yes.
if I get the receipts, do I just go to the courthouse, or what? How should I handle that?
Yeah, if you have a receipt that shows you paid it, show it to us and we'll give you credit for it.
Okay. All right.
All
Okay,
right.
that's all I had questions on. You said August 2nd at what time?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right, Sharon must have got lost on her way wherever she wasn't. All right, I'll see you on August 2nd.
Okay. Thanks.
Poor Sharon. Oy.
Oh, you know, there's no right answer. Sometimes there's no good answer.
Well, I appreciate you contacting her, Your Honor, and ensuring she didn't have a warrant today. That was.
She does, and some of it's my own self-interest. I don't like to have people get arrested and taken to jail, but then we have to dink around with rescheduling it, and even though I find an acorn about one time out of 20, that one case is one we don't have to chase around
Correct.
with
Your
a
Honor.
show cause and a bench warrant and all that. So,
I think that wraps it up, and everyone have a nice weekend.
It's not Friday yet, Jordan.
it is for me.
It is.
You know, in the old days, we'd talk about that weekend stuff, but it'll be a nice
Not for
week.
me either, Debbie. I was referring
Oh,
to the-
okay, good. The judge said he's off tomorrow, so I guess hey, have a great weekend, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Jordan.
you.
I'll talk to you later.
Yep. See
All
you guys.
right, well, our next one is 3 o'clock, which is Melissa, and it's also the,
I'll
Zone.
email Alyssa real quick and see if she can pop in early, maybe,
yeah,
or if
can you,
she's spoken to anyone. Okay.
all right, I'm shut the record off. We'll leave the live feed on for just a moment. Get with him and get it early.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's certainly got mental health issues.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, we forgot to make a record on Katie Shepard. Debbie, I was going to make a record with Jordan while she was here on Shepard, but you did indicate on the record you're going to dismiss 20764, 20, oops, I had to turn the record back on. Matter of People versus Katie Shepard, file 20764 is a retail fraud second, file 20777 SM is a retail fraud second, file 20868 is a retail fraud second degree, 868 SM, and 869 SM, 4 separate retail fraud second degree charges, all punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000, have been dismissed as part of a blanket plea agreement in the circuit court. Do you happen to have the circuit court number handy?
I'm not sure she had multiple open circuit court cases as well, but I did sign the Nolly's about an hour ago, so they should be
All right.
coming your way.
Did you have any luck with Melissa?
I was just getting ready to email her when I heard that we wanted to make a record on Shepard, so I will get back to that now.
All right, thank you. I can't find Mario Busio Montoya in the in the AS400.
I have him in
Yes.
on base.
Well, I'm looking for some background. He's not under Busio Montoya. He is under some things, but not this file number. He is under 21493. He's not in here. That's troubling. Let me look again.
Yeah, when I search by case number, it doesn't come up.
Huh. No, he's not in there under Montoya, Busio, or Busio Montoya. I have trouble with the Hispanic names, but he ain't there. I have to fix that.
So in the pretrial list, it's Busio-Montoya.
He's not in the AS400 as, not under this file number.
21493 SM. So I don't, how would he show up in the pretrial list on the AS400 but not have a file?
Well, maybe I left the dash out of it, but let's take a look.
I've tried it both ways too.
Scavenger. He's in, there it is. I just found it. I don't know why I couldn't see it. Because it has a dash. Wow. I didn't put the dash in it.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple different ones with that.
Yeah, there it is. Oh. So I have left William Scott, Mario Busio Montoya, Judas Hicks, and Travis Wurt. I emailed the probate court to see if they tell me what Mr. Hicks's current status is.
Let's see if I can find anything.
Well, let's see who we've got. We've got Roxanne and all her horsepower. Now, she has an HD camera. She's the cutting
Fancy.
edge. Good afternoon, Roxanne.
Hello.
Deborah Davis is here with us. By some court, this matter got set on a Thursday at 3 o'clock, right in the middle of our last pre-trials. It would normally be set Wednesday at 3 o'clock. We're gonna address it at 3 o'clock, but I got some other things going at the same time. We had tried to get some of the attorneys in and see if we could do them earlier in order to help things. Debbie dismissed 4 cases, but we're still jammed up right at 3. I've got Mike Hayden and Doug Kuhlman both in the waiting room.
Okay. You gonna put me out there too? I'm fine.
Okay. I haven't forgotten you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I don't know if I want to be on HD or not. I'm a little out of focus, so maybe old D is good enough for me. Well, nobody's late. But we gotta wait a bit. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for logging in a little early. We've got a couple things going on simultaneously. So we were gonna see if what we could do of yours first.
Okay.
What do you know about Scott or Montoya?
Well, Montoya, I just sent an email to Ms. Davis and Mr. Johnson. His is a special case. He's got immigration issues. And so I've been working with his immigration attorney. He sent me an extensive email on the program that Mr. Lucio Montoya was a part of. Is a rare one, very tricky. So any type of violent crime at all, even with a deferral, could result, not necessarily will, but could result in a deportation. So I had talked with Casey before about this.
I'll be with you in a bit here. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. He said that he understood and to have him continue working with services, which he's done. So I just sent an update to Casey and Debbie about that. So
Well, the allegation is he assaulted her, drove away drunk, came back drunk. Not a real compelling case. He's got some other baggage in his past.
yeah, well, he's been engaged. I just spoke with his therapist, Travis, over at Psych Services, who has done the anger management violence workbook through with other probationers. Has reported to Dean before, is familiar with what's required. I talked with Kristen Browning, who took over for Matt Pellerito, who indicated there's a 20-hour requirement. And Travis, his therapist from Psych Services, said that's certainly satisfied by what he's been doing or by what he will be doing. But he's been so far just working on CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and anger management. He and his wife were actually in marital counseling at prior to this incident, and then
Let's say your mic's breaking up.
Recommend. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's a it's a very, I guess, sensitive program. He was a kid when his immigration status, when he was approved as a citizen, and so he received that.
I guess at this point, I mean, I just got your email at 2:50, so I haven't really had time to digest it, but it looks like you sent an email to Casey in our office back on May 6th, indicating what work your client was doing. If we set this on the trial docket, it's not going to go to trial for a while because we haven't had any trials for a while. I would certainly be willing to consider the disturbing the peace that you have counter offered, assuming that between now and another last pretrial in 2 months or something of that nature, that he has continued to do the counseling. Basically, what it would look like is as if he entered a plea today to a DV first with a deferral, which he doesn't want to do because of the immigration issues. But if we treat it like he's on probation right now, where he's doing the same things that he would do on probation, if we come back in another 2 months and he is still successfully completing and we get good reports from the counselor, therapist that he's working with, I would reduce it to a disturbing the peace or disorderly, whichever is necessary to meet the qualifications.
So do you want me to set a last pretrial for July 29?
Yeah, that gives us about 2 months. I think that's fair enough. When did this case start, Melissa? Do you know?
March.
It started in March? Okay. So March through July. Yeah, let's take a look at it at the end of July and see if he's regularly attended and has some good reports that he's benefited from it.
I think this may be him. Miquel Kuhn. No. I think she's here on the, are you here on the zoning case? Ms. Kuhn?
I am here, was asked to appear as a witness for case number, let me find it here, 21822-ON1.
All right, you're in the right place. Let me put you in the waiting room, okay?
Thank you.
I really wish this hadn't been set in the middle of the last pre-trials. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 witnesses in the waiting room on that case. All right, how about Mr. William Scott?
I did not have him on my calendar. I'm looking for the notices right now. The last thing I have was our email with the court and the prosecutor's office about a last pretrial being set.
I made a new offer of an assault and battery. In exchange, I wouldn't do anything with the alleged bond violation, and we would dismiss the DV, second, and the larceny under 200.
Yeah, I thought that was a gracious offer. So, but I haven't talked with him because I didn't have, or he hasn't called me.
Now, we had a problem with some notices. This one says the notice was done June 3rd. That makes sense. For today, June 3rd. What? I can't tell.
Come on, Melissa, you've had 3 hours notice. You can do this. Just kidding.
So you didn't get a notice.
I mean, I'm not opposed to just simply resetting this one, Your Honor, for a few weeks to give Melissa time to contact her client with the new offer.
Well, there's a complaint of violation of conditional release.
I did review that.
Steve Lavador, and I said I didn't really want to deal with it. I don't understand that the notice for today is dated for today. So, Attorney Hallett got no notice. Reset last pretrial with proper notice.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I can't tell what happened. All right, I'm going to shift gears into this zoning matter.
I'll just stay quiet.
Okay. Good luck. Bye,
All
guys.
right, now, do you think Mr. Busio is going to log in at 3:15?
I'm going to text him right now and tell him that he does not need to.
All right, very good, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Bye. Thanks, Deb.
All right, Roxanne, they cleared the decks for you. Let's bring everybody in here. I'm going to stop the record and restart it. Good afternoon. We don't have Michelle or Stephanie Castleman, but we do have Jaden Christner here. I apologize. Somehow this matter accidentally got set on a Thursday. The folder says Wednesday at 3 o'clock, but it's Thursday by my calendar. A little disoriented because Monday was a holiday, but this is not a normal time for zoning hearings, but it's file 21590ON, 21591ON, and 21822ON. They're all in the name of Stephanie Castleman. In looking at some email correspondence regarding this property, it appears that Mr. Jaden Christner may now be the owner of this property. Mr. Christner has several other cases going here in the court. I've known him for many years. Good afternoon, Mr. Christner.
Hi, Judge.
All right. Also present on the feed is Roxanne Sieber, the attorney for, I believe this is Montville Township, Mike Hayden for zoning enforcement, Joe Wicke, building inspector, Douglas Kuhlman, code compliance, and a witness named Miquel Kuhn. I'm not sure how she fits into the scheme of things here. So, Ms. Sieber, let me defer to you. And there are separate complaints against, let me pull them up, Castleman. There's a zoning compliance order that's in effect from April. And then if I understand from some email exchange, at some point there was a quitclaim deed to Mr. Christner and his fiance, and we're chasing our tails. So, Ms. Sieber, what's the status here?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 3 cases today against Miss Castleman. We did subpoena her for today's hearing, and we did file a proof of service today. So I'm surprised that she is not present, seeing as she is the listed defendant. The cases are with respect to the property at 12623 Riverside Drive. We are prepared to go forward with a hearing. At this time, I would request the witnesses, Mr. Christner and Ms. Kuhn, be sequestered.
All right. Mr. Christner, are you now the owner of this property?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's got an interest in the property, although he's not the named defendant. So I'm reluctant to place him in the waiting room while we're discussing his property, but I will put Ms. Kuhn there. Ms. Kuhn, I'm going to put you in the waiting room. I'm not sure how you fit in here, but don't go away. All right. The tickets were written. Let me go back to them. There's 3 of them. File (21591) is a ticket for International Property Maintenance Code after the administrative search warrant. It was issued by Douglas Kuhlman for Constantine Township. File 822 is another ticket for junk vehicle and litter ordinance issued by Douglas Kuhlman. After the fire department notified, they responded to an occupied camper on fire. Camper posted unsafe for human habitation. Now it is nothing more than burnt debris in the right-of-way. So that is file 822 from April 15th. 590 is a ticket from March 6th, junk vehicle and litter ordinance. So this is a property that from the photographs looks to be in pretty dilapidated condition. And it started with Miss Castleman, and in the middle of the proceedings, a quitclaim deed was filed by from her to Mr. Christner, I guess. What can you tell me about that, Ms. Seaver?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a copy of the quitclaim deed here. I would like to acquire as to, of Mr. Christner as to it.
All right, Mr. Christner, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to that to the best of your ability you will tell the proceedings, tell the truth in this proceeding now before the court?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. They want to inquire how you came to be the owner of this property.
Do you want to question me, or you just want me to tell you?
Well, Roxanne, I'll defer to you.
Thank you, Mr. Christner. If you could please describe the date on which you received this deed and who was present.
The date, I'm not really sure of. I mean, it's the day that I signed the quitclaim with them is when I went and got it notarized with Miquel. I mean, I'm not sure of the exact day.
Okay, are you seeing the screen here that I'm sharing?
Yes,
Okay.
barely.
If it says on March 3rd, the grantors, Stephanie and Alma Castleman, a single person, would it make you think you signed this on March 3rd?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Can you please indicate, did you go over to see Mrs. Castleman and Alma Castleman?
Yes. Yep.
Where were they located?
Stephanie was located at the 12623 Drive. And then I went and met with her grandma, Alma, and they came over to my residence when we did the quitclaim deed. And Miquel came over to my house, and I exchanged cash for them and bought the property.
So if Stephanie is indicating that you never gave her the $2,000, is that incorrect?
Yes, that's incorrect.
Okay. So if what you're indicating is that the Castleman signed this deed over to you in your presence. Was Mr. Kuhlman there?
No.
Was anybody else there?
Miquel was there, her grandma was there, and Stephanie.
And whose grandma is Miquel?
Well, I met Alma. Alma is Stephanie's grandma.
So then you went ahead, and how did this thing then get notarized?
Miquel is a notary. She was present when we signed it.
And this was on March 3rd, which was shortly before this property allegedly transferred from Miss Castleman. Well, it was before the it was before the date that Mr. Kuhlman was out there and wrote the tickets on March 16th, correct?
I don't believe so. I think it was after.
So it's indicating here on the top that you filed it with the County Register of Deeds on April the 15th.
Okay, well then maybe that's when. I didn't know it took me a few weeks to turn it in. I'm not sure the exact dates. I know shortly after, I gave Stephanie 2 payments. And part of it included the camper that she was living in. On the second payment is when we had everything notarized. And then it took me a few weeks, and I went up to the Register of Deeds and transferred it into my name.
So you prepared the deed and had it signed by the Castlemans on one day, and then you had it notarized on a different day?
No, I had it turned in on a different day.
Okay. And is Miquel somehow related to you? Is she your girlfriend or?
No, not at all.
So if this indicates that you were the owner on March the 3rd, are you the one then that's responsible for the condition of the property?
I mean, if that's when the tickets were wrote, yeah. We were in the process of taking everything to the dump. I mean, the search warrant was executed right in the middle of us cleaning the house out and taking everything to the landfill.
What about the construction that was taking place on the buildings?
Well, only construction that was taking place was closing up broken windows and doors that weren't there.
What about the replacement of the wall on the garage?
We never replaced it. We never replaced any wall on a garage.
I have to show you some pictures here. Did
It's
you
a door-
allow? Did you
It's
allow?
a doorway. It was a garage doorway that was tore down before we owned the property, and we were trying to close it up so people weren't trying to live in it. There was 9 people living on the property when I bought it.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to request admission of the deed as Exhibit 1.
Any objection, Mr. Christner?
Oh, no, not at all.
All right, the deed is dated March 3rd and is accepted as exhibit number 1. Laura, you should probably be in here. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
So at this point, I guess I would call Mr. Kuhlman to the stand to talk about the condition of the property on the 16th.
All right, Mr. Kuhlman, could you raise your right hand? You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right.
Mr. Kuhlman, did you go out to the property at 12623 Riverside Drive pursuant to a search warrant on March the 16th, 2021?
Yes, I did.
And who did you meet out there and where were they located?
We were assisted by the St. Joe County Sheriff's Department and the Constantine Fire Department. They had secured the scene before myself and Building Inspector Joe Wicke entered the property. But once the scene was secured, we did talk with a Stephanie Castleman that was on site, and then one of her friends. Both of them were in the camper when we originally got there. I do not know the name of her friend that was there, but I did present the administrative search warrant to Stephanie Castleman. That was the only 2 people that were on the property other than the Sheriff's Department and the Constantine Fire Department.
And then did you turn in the search warrant and several pages of photographs that clearly and accurately represent the property as of March the 16th, 2021?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And those as are part of the court file?
Yes, they are.
Was Mr. Christner present?
No, he was not.
Okay. Mr. Kuhlman, at the time you visited the property, did you find out whether there were people living in campers?
Yes, in talking with Stephanie Castleman, she indicated that she was living in the camper. She said she had no other place to live. And so she had said that she had recently obtained this camper from Mr. Christner as part of a transaction for the property.
Okay. Do you know whether there is any power to any of the buildings on the property?
No, there was no power. The meter had actually been pulled, and there was an orange extension cord that had been connected to the meter base, and there was nothing connected to it at the time, but it appears that whenever they used it, they were using a generator to power the house.
Can you describe whether there are actual dwelling units or buildings on the property?
There is one dwelling that's in very poor condition. There is an accessory garage on the property directly behind the home. And then behind that garage is another pole barn that's on the property.
Okay, and what about within one of the pole barns? Was there a well?
Yes, there was a well that had been punched through the cement floor. I did contact the St. Joe County Health Department. I did submit pictures to them as well, and they were going to be taking enforcement action on that issue.
And Mr. Wicke is the township's building official. He accompanied you?
Yes, he did.
Did he post out of unoccupiable notices on the buildings themselves?
each one of the buildings did have a placard placed on it that it was unsafe for human habitation.
At the time that you were out there, what was the condition of the windows on the house?
At the time that we were there, they were boarded up. When we went inside, you could see that some of the windows were still intact, but some of the windows were actually broken.
I'm going to show you here what your photos are. If you quickly kind of go through these, what it is that you observed on that day. And again, you're indicating that these fairly inaccurately represent the property as of March the 16th.
I do.
Okay. What's
so
this?
The photo you have up on, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What is the first photograph here?
So the first photograph is a fifth wheel camper, had no registration on it whatsoever. The inside of it was torn up. It was actually sitting in the county roadway right away. Stephanie Castleman indicated that somebody had just placed it there and that she had no idea who it belonged to.
Did you go inside this?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what was located inside there?
All kinds of, I'm going to call it debris. The interior of the trailer was pretty tore up. It's a non-usable fifth wheel at this point in time.
It's unlicensed, correct?
That is correct. And this is the photograph of the rear of the fifth wheel that was showed no registration on it.
Flat tires?
Yes.
This is the interior of that fifth wheel?
Yes, that is the interior of that fifth wheel.
Do you know who owns this vehicle?
We do not know who owns it. The sheriff's department had a very difficult time even trying to find any VIN tag on it to be able to run it to see who it may have belonged to last.
Did the sheriff's department tow this out?
They did not. And because it was in the roadway right away, we did contact the St. Joe County Road Commission, and they said they were just going to wait for the township to take enforcement action.
Okay. This more pictures of the interior of this camper?
That is correct.
Okay. And then this then appears to be the house? A blue building?
Just a little bit more, but I believe, yes. Yes, that is the house with an inoperable refrigerator sitting in the front yard.
Okay. And this door was open when you got there?
That is correct.
The camper that Miss Castleman was living in, is that located behind this fence?
That is correct.
And this various debris that's located outside, is this all violation of the Constantine Township Vehicle and Machinery / Storage Ordinance?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Side view of the house?
That's kind of, yes, that's a side view, I'm sorry.
And that looks like there's a stove out here as well?
Yes, okay, and that photograph, yes, there's all kinds of building debris and furniture and appliances sitting out in the yard.
Okay. Then you had a look here. This is an open electrical box on the house.
I need you to scoot, there you go. Yes, that is where the meter service was, and that's the orange extension cord that was connected into the base of the meter.
Okay. And where did that extension cord lead to, do you know?
It just went out to the backyard. It was not connected to anything at the time of this inspection.
Then you went inside the house, and this is what you saw in terms of the living room?
There it is, yes. Yes, that is just as you saw the door that was open on the side. This is the room just inside the door. Basically no furniture in the house. There was a propane fueled device sitting in the living room, which would not be meeting any type of codes either.
Is that what this is, the photograph showing here?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a heater then of some sort?
Yes, it's a propane fueled heating device.
Okay. This is the electrical panel inside the house?
Yes, there's actually two of them in there. One's The one at the top is the one that's connected out to the meter base outside, and then the one below it is piggybacked off of the one on the top.
More pictures of the interior of the house with the electrical here, correct?
That is
Had
correct.
the house been gutted, did it look like?
It hasn't been totally gutted, no, but it's certainly, I would say, vandalized or damaged severely.
Had anybody pulled building permits for any of this work or vandalism, so to speak?
Do you need a vandal permit? But it looks like they're either moving or getting ready to do something.
So with respect then to this house, the building official posted this as dangerous, unsafe. Did he post it, do you know, as demo only?
He did not. He just posted the yellow placard which says unsafe for human habitation.
Then can you please describe what's in this photograph here? Is this the outbuilding or the house?
Also, you see the debris in the foreground, and this is the garage. At the extreme left of the photograph, right next to that red chair that you see, is actually the garage door that's sitting out in the yard. And they were starting to frame up a wall where the garage door used to be.
They had
no permits were obtained on that.
Thank you. And then this is just.
There was a well in there in the pole building. Laura, we're having a trial here. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kuhlman, where was the well?
Well's in the building to the very back that you see, the darker blue building.
Refrigerator. And what part of the property is this?
That's it. That's inside that garage where they were framing up the wall.
And that looks like some kind of a makeshift heating element of some sort?
Yes, that's a wood stove that's in that garage.
A do-it-yourself suicide machine is what it looks like.
And Mr. Kuhlman, then a fuse box here?
Yeah, that's an open fused electrical panel that's in that garage.
Now, Mr. Kuhlman, when you got out there, did you meet Ms. Castleman? What building or what motorhome was she in at the time?
If you back up just a minute, you just passed the picture of the well that was in the garage. Get one more back. Nope, I'm sorry. It's in the garage, but there's a closer up picture. Go ahead and move forward. I'm sorry. The camper that she was in, there should be some pictures down further into this report.
Slow down. Let's see if we can see the well picture.
Yep. Keep going from there. This is electrical issues that are in that pole barn.
Same pole barn here?
Yes, it is.
Is this a different wood stove than the one we already saw?
This is a wood stove that's in the pole barn. That is different than the one you saw previously. There's the well that's in the pole barn.
This is what's determinative of a well?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like it's been there a while, doesn't it?
It does.
More electrical. now we're outside, and this is something you observed in the yard?
Yes, there were several vehicles, trailers. Matter of fact, the one trailer at the very back of the property next to that white vehicle. After the sheriff's department ran all the VIN numbers on all these different vehicles and trailers, that trailer in the back of the property was actually determined to be stolen out of Park Township.
Did the sheriff's department recover that one?
Yes, they did.
Now, did you talk to Mrs. Castleman about whose vehicles these were?
She indicated to me that all the vehicles that were on the property belonged to Jaden Christner.
And what is this? Looks like a utility truck of some sort?
Yeah, it's an unlicensed Ford pickup truck.
No, that's not a pickup truck.
This white? It's kind of
This one, I'm sorry, my pictures are delaying a little bit. That white truck is actually on the adjoining property next door that's also owned by Jaden Christner.
no license on that?
I don't know, because we didn't do an inspection of that property. If you see a post just or a tree stump just in front of where the orange boom is, that's pretty much the property line. We did not go over on that property.
Okay. At the time that you were out there, you thought that this was Mrs. Castleman's property, right?
That is correct.
We got a burn pile here. This was something that had been taken care of by the fire department before you got out there?
No, that's just remnants of a burn pile that we observed while we were there. But obviously you can see things that are in the burn pile that are remnants of things that should not be being burned.
No idea who did that though, huh?
I do not know who did that.
These are the vehicles. This is the trailer you talked about?
My pictures are waiting to catch up because I see vehicles in the back right now.
There's a white vehicle and then there's a trailer here. A gray vehicle and then a white pickup truck with, looks like sheriff's deputy walking around behind it next to the burn pile.
That is correct. That's an additional burn pile.
How big is this property?
I believe it's a little over a half acre. I can verify that.
Any of these vehicles licensed or operable?
Some had license plates on them, some did not, but none of them appeared to be operable.
You know how they got out there?
I do not.
And we haven't gotten to her trailer yet, right?
No, you have not.
Here we
This
go.
property consists of 0.57 of an acre, so just a little over a half acre.
Can you see this picture though? There's a white motor vehicle with, or a white motor home with a pop out of some sort here. It has a grill in front of it.
I still have two pickup trucks in my picture.
It's
There it
page
is.
66 of your file.
This is the camper that she was living in. You'll see some other pictures beyond this that you show just under that slide out at the rear. There's actually a generator underneath that portion of the camper that was running when we were there.
And is this car the other significant item of value that got traded for the property?
According to Stephanie Castleman, it was that tan car there, that camper, and $2,000 in cash that was traded for this property.
Well,
Now, was she given permission then to live out here?
No, actually, the camper was also placarded as unsafe for human habitation, and she was told she could not stay in the camper.
Do you know whether she's moved out at this point?
Well, she has at this point because in April, the fire department called me out because that was the camper that caught on fire while she was actually in it.
Okay.
And that's why we have Mike Hayden here. Mike Hayden
Right there.
actually representing the Constantine
Right
Fire
there.
Department in this case.
Roxanne, I can't do anything when you've got control of my screen. I would mute Mr. Christner. I've also got the people that are waiting for our last pretrials, and they don't seem to be there. Mr. Christner, I'm going to mute your mic. I didn't want any volunteer statements. All right, Roxanne, you can go back. I was afraid that perhaps Mr. Gibson or other people were here on those pretrials, but I don't see them. So, as I said, this was not a good time to put this, but that wasn't your fault. So just continue and we'll see what's going on with our other cases.
Okay, Mr. Kuhlman, we're almost to the last several pictures. When you went to see Mrs. Castleman, what did she tell you about?
Well, we're talking about Mrs. Cat. We're talking about Stephanie or
Stephanie.
Alma?
Yeah, it was Stephanie that was on the site, right?
And do we know if she's a Miss or
Correct.
Mrs.?
I do not believe she's married at all.
All right.
So she indicated to you that she had traded this property to Jaden Christner, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, what date was this?
March the 16th.
This was on March the 16th.
All right, that's what I thought.
I will just clarify though, on the date that the citations were issued on March 16th, she said that she had traded this to Jaden Christner, but that he had still owed her $2,000, and she wasn't sure that it went through, because when I checked the county records, I was on site there, this property was still in the name of Stephanie Castleman and Alma Castleman's name. That is why the citations were written to the Castlemans and not Mr. Christner.
You never talked to Mr. Christner then about his ownership of this particular property?
I did not.
Did you talk to Mrs. Castleman about, I'm sorry, to Miss Castleman about when the deed was signed?
I did talk with her. I actually got a call from her and Alma, the grandmother, several days later. This was even after the fire. Alma called me and indicated that they couldn't afford the $1,500 in fines that were put on these citations. And when I was discussing this with her, she said that they had signed this quitclaim deed back in March, but that it never got recorded until April 15th. And she'd indicated to me that she wasn't sure why it took so long. She said Jaden came out and Stephanie and Alma signed the quitclaim deed, and then Jaden was going to go take it and get it notarized and then get it recorded. I clarified more than once that they signed the documents and Jaden Christner took the document to get it notarized, and that's why we have subpoenaed Ms. Kuhn.
These last couple photographs here then, are these inside of the house again or a different building?
That's in the basement of the dwelling.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd request admission of this as plaintiff's exhibit number 2.
All right, that report dated March 16th is admitted.
Mr. Kuhlman, you went
Just a
ahead.
minute. Exhibit number 2 is admitted, the report of Doug Kuhlman, March 16th, with photos. All right, thank you, go ahead.
Mr. Kuhlman, you then got a hold of a copy of this deed somewhat thereafter from the County Register of Deeds, correct?
That is correct.
And that has been, at least it appears to have been recorded, correct?
Appears that it was recorded on April the 15th.
Then we went and you served Ms. Castleman with a subpoena to appear for today, correct?
No, Stephanie Castleman was the defendant on the citation for today's hearing. I did, after Alma's discussion that I had with Alma Castleman, I did advise her that I would be getting subpoenas. When I went to attempt to serve Alma Castleman, excuse me, at her residence down in Montville Township, her significant other that lives with her refused to open the door and refused to allow Alma to come to the door to receive the subpoena.
Okay. So you went out then and served Mr. Christner?
Yes, I personally served Mr. Christner at the property on Riverside Drive, yes.
So he was out located on that property on May the 6th?
Yes.
And what, did he say anything to you at that time?
No, I just asked him to meet me there because I had a subpoena for him regarding this case. So we didn't really discuss anything other than that.
And then you went over and served Miquel Kuhn?
That is correct.
And did you have a discussion with her regarding the situation?
I did.
And what did she say?
She was somewhat confused originally.
Stop. That's all rank hearsay. What someone else told you outside the hearing of the court for admission for evidentiary purposes is the definition of hearsay, and unless there's some exception, it's not admissible. She's here, we'll simply ask her, I guess, what she said, but that testimony coming from you would be hearsay.
Mr. Kuhlman, you went ahead then and issued citations to Ms. Castleman on March the 16th, 2021. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then you issued another citation for living in a camper on that same property.
I issued a citation for International Property Maintenance Code, which would cover the poor conditions of the houses and the living in the camper, yes. And then I also issued a second citation for the junk, litter, and inoperable vehicles that are on the property.
Okay. And then when the fire department went out on the motor home fire, was there a citation issued as a result of that?
I don't think that's a motorhome. I don't think it has an engine in it. It looks to be a fifth wheel camper. Is that what it is, Mr.
So the one that she was staying in at the time was just a regular travel trailer, pull behind travel trailer.
Not a motor.
Yes, I did go out on. No, it is not a motorhome or a fifth wheel. It's just a standard travel trailer. So yes, on April 15th, the fire department called me and said that they had responded to a fire of the camper that Miss Castleman was staying in. As a result of that, I responded out and I issued an additional citation because this camper had been placarded previously as unsafe for human habitation.
Did you talk to Ms. Castleman at that time?
There was nobody on the property at the time that I posted that citation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kuhlman. I have nothing further.
All right, just a minute. Can I have my screen back? I still don't have anyone here. Deborah, can you come back for a moment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I apologize for this giant issue in the middle of our pretrial day. Mr. Hicks was set for 3:45. I believe he's still in some placement. So let me stop the record on this. This is a mess. If there was a bad time to put it, this was it. All right, so everybody sit tight for a minute. I'm gonna bring in Mr. Gibson. In fact, I'm gonna put all of you in the waiting room and clear you out of the way for this. Don't go away. All right, let's bring in Paul Gibson. Good afternoon, Mr. Gibson.
Good afternoon.
You don't know this, you came, oh gee whiz. Oh. All right, our 330 matter is People versus Judas Hicks. Mr. Hicks is charged with domestic violence second offense. He was in the jail and was, in my view and the view of the jail, suffering from significant mental illness.
Did you want this on record?
Yes. We went out of the...
Did I turn it off?
You turned it off. I had it turned on.
Okay, I turned it on. Okay,
All
turn
right,
it on.
we're
Sorry.
addressing People versus Judas Hicks, file 21727. We went out of our way to work with the probate court to get a mental health commitment for Mr. Hicks. He had been in the jail, he refused to bathe, he was hard to understand. So they did a petition, and we were under the assumption that Mr. Hicks went somewhere. I just got an email from the probate court. I said, do you know what his current placement status is? I hate to even read this. We just found out that Mr. Hicks was taken to the Sturgis ER at the time he was released, as he didn't meet the criterion. No one let us know. The police had to know, since they took him to the emergency room. We went out of our way to get him. I can't conceive that they felt he doesn't require services. So he went to we took him out of jail to get a mental health commitment. Someone took him to the ER and said he didn't need it and just let him go. It makes my brain hurt. So I have no idea where he is. And in my view, he's seriously mentally ill. I've done a couple of commitment hearings as a visiting judge myself, and I've watched his disintegration over the last few years. So, Mr. Gibson, I'm assuming you had no contact with your client?
No, Your Honor.
I don't even know if he knows there's a hearing.
Your Honor, wasn't one of the bond conditions that he be in a facility?
Did he not leave the state of Michigan? Let's see what I did in the bond conditions. Not the least of which, nobody knew. Nobody asked, and nobody said anything. Let's see. Order. My order dated April 18th. Defendant has been in jail for 40 days due to this misdemeanor offense, but the court finding the defendant was a danger to the public, which is why he wasn't released on a PR band after 28 days. Defendant is to submit to a pickup order for a mental health evaluation in probate court case 03173MI. No drugs or alcohol. Bond is reduced to $500 PR bond. May not leave the state of Michigan. Must cooperate with CMH and obey all probate court orders. Take all medication as prescribed.
Is he cooperative with CMH still? Is Lisa still involved?
I have no idea. Lisa's not CMH. Lisa's Covered Bridge.
Oh, I thought she was their CMH.
No, she was, and don't get me started. I'll go on a tirade.
Okay.
The jail is full of people that need mental health services, and they aren't getting it. So I don't know where he is, and neither did Judge Tomlinson.
I can try to contact CMH to see if he's been cooperative, and if he's not, perhaps we can send up a bond violation, which would then give law enforcement.
I don't believe he even knows of this hearing. Today is June 3rd. I've been under the assumption, as has the probate court, that the defendant was placed somewhere on May 18th. Instead, he just walked out the door.
Is it May or April 18th?
May 18th.
May 18th, okay.
And this is an aside. But there is I think he's out, and I think he's at the intersection of Moore Park and Fisher Lake Roads, wandering around with no shirt on, scaring the neighbors. And I said, well, it can't be him. He's been placed in a facility.
Is there a probate court order that the police could pick him up for his own safety? Or again,
No,
if
they already did that.
CMH...
And I don't know how the system works, but it seems like somebody ought to report back as to what happened. We go to all the effort to get an order, and no one, anyway, I've got lots of frustration here for several reasons. I'll try to take a deep breath. At any rate, I don't think I can do a bench warrant, 'cause I don't think he has notice.
And I wouldn't say a bench warrant for this, but if one of the bond conditions is for him to cooperate with CMH and he hasn't been cooperating with CMH, that could be the basis of a bond violation.
Well, it will be if CMH says you don't need any treatment and you can go. I guess we'll find out. I'll just hold this. Defendant did not appear.
While you continue your zoning hearing, I'll do what I can to
No,
find
I got
out.
one more to do.
And Mr. Wurt.
Like I said, this was part of why I'm so frustrated, because I've got this hugely messy zoning case in the middle of this stuff. So just each day brings challenges. Let's take a deep breath. Mr. Wurt is in the waiting room.
And I believe Mr. Wurt was just asking for a trial at this point.
All right, well, we'll accomplish that. Travis McGee still in Cedar Key. That's what John McDonald said. Good afternoon, Mr. Wurt. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Are you Travis Wurt?
Yes.
Your lawyer, Mr. Paul Gibson, is here with us. This matter is set for a pretrial conference at 3:45. We're sorry we're a little bit late. We had some issues come up on a charge of domestic violence. Mr. Gibson indicated that you wish to have a trial in this matter. Deborah, is this the one where there was an amended plea offer?
No, there was not, Your Honor. And actually, there has been an issue that has arisen in the last few days with this case. We would ask that in light of Mr. Wurt asking for this to be set for trial, which will be not for a while, there's some allegations that he has been influencing the testimony of the minor child in this matter during his parenting time. And we would ask that the bond be amended such that he not be permitted to discuss the case or the child's testimony with the child. I understand that with the divorces and parenting time, that it's important for this child to have contact with his father, with her father. Otherwise, I would ask that there be only supervised contact. But at this point, I at least would like a bond condition that he's not to discuss the matter with the child witness, nor attempt to influence her testimony.
Understand that, Mr. Wurt?
It's complete bull.
All right, well, that's now a condition of the bond. Who do the people have for witnesses?
Your Honor, we have the minor child whose name I would rather not put on the record.
Just give me the initials.
A.W.
All right.
The victim, Bailey Wurt. Sergeant Ashley Zimmer of the White Pigeon Police Department. Chief William Burgoyne of the White Pigeon Police Department. And Officer David Ali of the White Pigeon Police Department.
All right, and do you have any motions under either of the statutes?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. It is a DV first, and I don't believe there's any prior acts.
All right, how about 911 videos, photographs, medical reports?
I don't believe we have any evidence of that nature. It's simply the police report, so testimony from the witnesses. Oh, there are some pictures, but those were included in the police report.
All right, so photos. Paul, do you have any witnesses you wish to call?
Your Honor, I would ask that the defense have, now that we know the prosecution's witnesses, time approximately 2 weeks to be able to submit a witness list, because this case was set for its first attorney pretrial was, I believe, about 2 weeks ago. So I haven't had much time to investigate this case. So
some of these got set on a really short turnaround. I'm not exactly clear. Maybe we're all caught up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was not. Generally, I have more time to prepare prior to the last pretrial because, as I said, I think the attorney pretrial was on the 21st of May. So it's
I think it was May 14th.
Yeah, May 14th.
Oh, okay.
All right, and so at this point, Mr. Wurt, you wish to have a jury trial?
Yeah.
May 21st was a bond motion hearing.
Okay.
Oh, all right. So May 14th.
Mr. Wurt, you've done a good job of appearing at every hearing. We've got your address. There's a condition that you not try to discuss any factors in the case or influence the child. I know there was a divorce, which was final in April. Your lawyer will provide a witness list. Paul, do you wish to talk to him in a breakout room or just have him call you?
The divorce still isn't final as far as I know.
Oh, I thought it was final on April 6th.
It's all fabricated evidence, quote unquote, that she makes up as she goes, and it just gets gone with.
The ROA shows that the judgment of divorce did enter.
And then she disputed it, and now she wants to go back, and she's trying to fight it. You have no idea.
All right, well, the divorce is final April 6th. Maybe it's under dispute.
The day that I moved out of the house.
Well, it says, then maybe my notes are incorrect, but we can certainly, is the divorce in Michigan or Indiana?
It's Michigan. She's been lying from the start.
All right, well, I don't have a position regarding that, but we're going to set this for jury trial at some date to be determined, which is not very soon. All right, Mr. Wurt, you can contact your attorney directly and discuss it further. He's going to give us the the witnesses. Thank you,
And as
sir.
far as a bond condition, Your Honor, are you just going to amend that and then send a copy out? Or how do you handle that?
I will have to, but I don't have time to do that right now. So.
Sure, understandable.
All right, Mr. Gibson, you're good to go.
Thank you.
And I'm very disgruntled about Mr. Hicks. And
I'll do what I can to find out some information, Your Honor. Good luck with your hearing.
all right, thank you. All right, let me take these files out of here and get them out of my way. We'll come back and bring all the witnesses back in. We might be here till midnight. Just stop the recording for now.
Hey, are you done with Castleman?
No, heck no.
Well, I got her today.
All right, let's go back on. Let's bring everybody back in. Ms. Kuhn, we didn't forget you. We just were involved with some other difficult issues. So I apologize for the wait. I have cleared the decks of everything else. And now we can focus only on this. That was the completed questions for Mr. Kuhlman. At this point, Mr. Christner isn't a party to this action, and the defendants aren't here. Ms. Siever, could you rejoin us? Joe Wick is still there. What would you like to do next?
I'd like to call Miss Kuhn to the stand, please.
All right, Ms. Kuhn, would you raise your right hand?
Yes.
You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
And it looks to me like your name is spelled Miquelkuhn.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Siever?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to, Ms. Kuhn, I'd like to call your attention here to...
Now, I guess I should start right now. If you're going to be asking questions about the false swearing of this document, it's a criminal offense, and the defendant probably should be advised of her Fifth Amendment rights. She's been subpoenaed in a civil matter, but her testimony here is under oath. And if what I believe you're going to inquire as to, it sounds like Mr. Christner went over, had Alma and Stephanie sign it, then at some later time and place, Ms. Kuhn notarized it as authorized signatures without actually viewing the signatures. That's a misdemeanor. Is that where you're headed?
Yes.
Ms. Kuhn, you've been subpoenaed to testify in this matter regarding a quitclaim deed that was allegedly sworn to on, I believe, March 3rd of 2021. We've taken some testimony about it. Are you a notary public?
I am, sir.
Certified in the state of Michigan?
Yes, correct.
What's your employment?
I am an operations manager for a transportation company in Elkhart, Indiana.
They're going to ask, Mr. Christer, would you sit still? Wandering all over like a mouse in a maze, and I'm getting dizzy. Just find one spot and stay there. That would be easier. You don't have to stand up through the whole thing. Find a comfortable place to light and then just stay there.
Made it, Your Honor. My apologies.
All right. They're going to ask you some questions about your notarization of a document. And depending on the answers to those questions, they could implicate you in at least a misdemeanor, if not something else, criminal offense. Do you understand that you do not have a right, you have a right not to incriminate yourself, and would in fact have the right to counsel to advise you regarding whether or not you should provide testimony? Do you understand?
Yes, I was not aware that anything of that nature was in question. I thought I was just a witness, but I definitely, if there's something else going on here, I would want to contact an attorney.
Well, you are a witness.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if you did what she says you did, or what they believe you did, it's a misdemeanor offense to falsely notarize a document. You lose your notary status and potentially be charged with a crime. So I don't know, I don't know that you're gonna be charged with a crime, but you have exposure. If what she's going to be asking you about is borne out, that you notarized two signatures you didn't witness. So do you wish to consult with an attorney?
I think I would, Your Honor. I mean, I've not done anything wrong, but I do not know, I've never been in any sort of a situation like this before. So without some knowledge of the law, I just don't know how I should handle this.
All right, that's probably safe. From the testimony I've heard, it doesn't appear you were present when those two signatures were notarized, were signed. All right, so defendant, essentially you're taking the Fifth Amendment to not testify. Which certainly clouds things up.
Well,
all right, so
I've not even.
I'm sorry.
I apologize, Your Honor, but I've not even seen the document in question. I'm not 100% sure what this is really even in regards to, other than the subpoena I have received.
All right, would you share the document, Ms. Sieber?
Well, that is my signature. Okay.
All right, don't say anything else. But it says it is subscribed and sworn before you on 3/3 of 21. and go up a little bit. That you're notarizing the signatures of Alma Castleman and Stephanie Castleman as grantors on this quitclaim deed.
Thank you for sharing that, Your Honor.
All right. Does that change your mind? Do you still wish to talk with counsel first?
I think I do, because I'm just not sure. Yes, I think I would like to, please.
All right, we will subpoena you for another date. Ms. Sieber, at this point, is there a reason to keep her here?
I could ask her what she said to Mr. Kuhlman when he served her the subpoena.
Well, when she takes the fifth, you're in for a penny, in for a pound. You take it all. You don't ask some questions, and then at least you can if you choose to, but I think at this point it's probably wise for her not to.
Okay, thank you.
And you tried to elicit that, and I said that it was hearsay and that she could testify, and then as I thought about it, I thought, well, this is a criminal offense. Then the issues of Fifth Amendment right come into play. All right, Ms. Kuhn, can I have my screen back? All right, thank you. You may get a subpoena for a future date, in which case, now one option is the prosecutor could grant you immunity for this. The prosecutor doesn't even know anything about it, in which case you could be required to testify. They might say, we're not going to pursue a criminal action. That would remove the issue of Fifth Amendment right, but at this point, I believe you still have it. So I'm just going to remove you. You can go back about your business.
So, Your Honor, should I assume that I need to will I receive some paperwork and I need to get an attorney? I don't know.
Well, if you get a new subpoena,
yes,
then you should talk to an attorney.
Okay. Otherwise, at this point, there's nothing further you need from me.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, where does that leave us?
Your Honor, I'd like to have Mike Hayden testify briefly.
All right, Mr. Hayden, thank you for being here. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right, would you state your name for the record, please?
Mike Hayden. And today I'm testifying for the Constantine Fire Department.
All right.
Mr. Hayden, did you respond during the month of April to a fire at the property at 12528 Barker Road?
Yes, I did.
And can you indicate what was on fire?
There was a travel trailer that was on fire. It had pretty much collapsed at the time we arrived.
And was anybody present on the property?
At the time we arrived, there was a female standing out by the road. There was an officer there. Myself and another firefighter went to putting the fire out.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with a female out at the road?
Yes, after the fire was out, she had gone to a neighbor's house across the street, and I went and talked to her, and she did identify herself as Stephanie Castleman.
And did she indicate to you whether she was living in that travel trailer?
Yes, she had told me that she was in it at the time the fire started, and it started she believed from a space heater that was up at the end of it.
Thank you, sir. I have no other questions for you.
All right, thank you. Any other testimony?
No, Your Honor.
All right, what do you want to do at this point?
At this time, Your Honor, I would request a default as to Miss Stephanie Castleman as to all three of the violations, and I would request that the court issue fines in the amount of $500 in each one, and that the township be permitted to pursue the removal of junk vehicles and litter and items from the property. And if necessary, we will reissue citations to Mr. Christner.
She's defaulted on all three tickets. Fine is $500 per ticket.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
Part of my report, I also included a fire run for cost recovery for restitution, and that fire cost to the township was $397.20.
All right, I'll order that as well. That's to Constantine Township?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Christner, you bring me the most difficult cases that I have, and this is the most difficult on a scale of about 1 to 100. It's about a 750. This place is in deplorable condition. There are so many violations that made my head spin.
I agree.
Why in the world would you want to get involved in this? We've got all that struggle we have with the house on US 12. We've got that other house in Montville, and you buy for $1 this huge giant mess. It boggles my mind.
I don't have, well, the only house I'm having an issue with, I mean, in the courts, Your Honor, is the one on US 12. I don't have another one that has issues in Montville.
Well, the one we had all the issues with.
I bought that one, honestly, man, to freaking try to clean up the neighborhood. I mean, my house that's beside it got broken into twice by the people that lived by Stephanie Castleman's associates or friends, and I just got tired of it, and I was presented with the opportunity to buy it. It was more of a solution to get all the mess out of the area rather than...
In the little crappy trailer by the road, there's needles and meth equipment.
That's the stuff that was left on the property when I bought it, Your Honor. The only two vehicles that are on the property that are mine is the F-150 diesel and the Nissan Maxima. None of the trash is mine. None of the rubbish is mine. That's the stuff that we were trying to clean up.
Well, yeah, you bought it all. A big giant mess. So she's charged with all this, and then she tries to duck out from under it by allegedly selling it to you.
Right.
I've got some questions as to whether that quitclaim deed is even legitimate, whether it effectively transfers the ownership of the property to you. There's an argument that you don't even actually own the property. Is that the township's position?
Correct, Your Honor.
The deed says for consideration of $1. There's apparently some side consideration of a camper and a $2,000 and.
Yeah, Stephanie's saying the $2,000 isn't paid because I gave her grandma the last $3,000 of the remaining balance. Her grandma hadn't received any money from Stephanie, like was agreed in the beginning, and I felt bad. So I gave the last remaining $3,000 to her grandma.
Well, there's another reason. The consideration wasn't $1. There's also there's a compliance order in effect dated April 24th in one of these files. Are you asking for that or simply this and start with new citations with Mr. Christner?
Well, Your Honor, I think that the compliance order is valid, but at this point, if the township's going to do any cleanup, it's going to be because we're ultimately going to own this property. So it doesn't make any sense to do anything more with an existing compliance order.
Well, it's all cleaned up regardless, so.
All right, so those pictures were March 16th. You're saying between then and now, you've done a lot to clean the property up, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, all the trash is gone. The trailer that burnt down to the ground, that's gone. I do believe there's, the Nissan is still back there, and there's a truck that's back there that's not mine, but that's
is the camper that was out by the road still there?
No, that was owned by some people that were staying there when I acquired the property. They asked me to pull it out by the road because they were going to come get it. They never came and got it. And then eventually, I mean, somebody did. I went out there one day and it was gone. I don't know who took it. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know who took it. I tried to have it removed by like different tow yards and stuff, and nobody would take it. No.
A big clunky piece of burned metal with 6 flat tires. All right, so what did we do here? We did a default on 3 tickets on Stephanie Castleman. I also included restitution. If she isn't here to raise the defense that she no longer owned the property, what else do we need to do here at this time?
I think we're all set for now.
Mr. Christner, if they're going to pursue further against you, they'll issue separate citations to you. I don't make a ruling here of whether you own this or not. Her name's on the tickets, and she was living there in violation of it. And this isn't the first time Officer Kuhlman and me have tried to get somebody out of an unsafe trailer and it's burned up. And so far, no one has died. Have they? Did the guy die at that one down in Montville, Doug?
No.
Well, he did.
No, so far we haven't had any.
He did eventually die, but he didn't die in a fire. And I think I can think of 3 where there was this going on because it was unsafe, and I can't even count the number of unsafe things I saw regarding this property, but Mr. Christner says he's cleaning it up. I think he probably is. All right, so what we've done here is we've taken sworn testimony of Officer Kuhlman, Officer Hayden. Mr. Christner is here as a witness, potentially as the owner of the property, but he isn't the named defendant. He doesn't have standing to appear on her behalf. There's an issue regarding the quitclaim deed and potential fraud in the execution of the notarization of it. So if we get into that, the witness will be subpoenaed and we'll see how we proceed at that time. All right, Doug, you might want to go out there and take a new look at the property and see what he's done in the last 2.5 months. Maybe there's been some great improvement there. But I guess if I lived next door to this, I wouldn't want to have all that either. But all right. I'll put a note in each file, and I'm sorry for all the disruption we had today with the way things got scheduled, but we'll try to do better next time. Anything else anybody wants to put on the record?
No, Your Honor.
All right. How are we doing on the property on, the circus house?
Well, it's being painted all one color. But plumbing it today, Your Honor. And then, you know, I plan on calling Joe Wiki by the end of the week to have my inspection so I can insulate.
There you go, Joe. Okay, I'm gonna release everybody from this proceeding and try to make some coherent notes of what we did, as well as the other cases. Roxanne, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
As always.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna end the live feed and take a deep breath and try to.
I'm glad I'm not the
notes
only source of your frustration.
Okay, thank you.